Hello and welcome! This is Melsgunner, and we're back with some more BattleTech and my continued look at the backer beta build and the single-player skirmish mode found within. For this video, I'll be doing another well-rounded build, but this time around it'll be at a new budget level. I've already done series on the Clash budget level, the Battle budget level, and the War budget level at 15 million, 20 million, and 25 million respectively. This time around, it will be my own budget level at 30 million. And because it is a budget level that I've come up with myself, there are no presets, so I have to utilize one of my own loadouts for the AI. So you will see a mirror match in this particular video, but in future videos, I'll be changing my loadout, but the AI will keep this same loadout for comparison's sake. I've chosen this loadout of the ones that I've come up with because it is one I feel that the AI can use effectively and be a good challenge to me, as a number of the heavier mechs are very durable, and the Firestarter can be a very threatening mech, as it can lead to overheating my mechs and shutting them down. Unfortunately, the AI has a habit of using especially mechs with jump jets a little too aggressively, so we'll probably see that happen. And another thing that I've done with the AI, and this is to utilize the AI in a way that's not problematic, is I have only assigned pilots that do not have the multi-target ability like Sumo has here. And this is because there apparently is a bug right now in the game where when the AI uses the multi-target ability, there's a chance that they will fire out of arc and they will fire with ignoring line of sight rules. So that's problematic. We don't want that to happen, as that's not the way the game's intended to work. So to avoid that, I have assigned pilots that don't have the multi-target ability. The problem with that is the multi-target ability is prevalent. A lot of the pilots have it. So this makes me have to utilize pilots that are not really the best for the particular mech that they are in, but some compromises have to be made for the AI pilots, so that's unfortunate, but that's the way we're going to have to go. So let's go ahead and go over the build itself. And the premise of these well-rounded builds is that I have one scout, one preferably two frontline mechs, and one support mech. And we're trying to build the best Lance loadout that we can within the budget level that we're working with, which again is 30 million for this particular video series. All right, with that being said, let's start off with our scout, which is the Firestarter I've already mentioned. The Firestarter is going to have decent mobility, having jump jets eating that mobility, and it also has pretty good firepower, with the flamers giving you some extra utility of overheating your opponent. And as a scout mech, it can be pretty effective using those jump jets to allow you to also do nice hit and run attacks. For the pilot, I'm going to be using Arc Light, which is my go-to scout pilot when I only have one scout, as the Master Tactician ability gives you that extra initiative bonus that allows you to act last and the turn that you attack, and then in the next following turn, go first to retreat. Now, unfortunately, because I'm using Arc Light on the other side, I don't really have that advantage, but if my opponent was not using Arc Light in a light mech, then we would have that advantage. That's the reason why I'm choosing it, because I think it's the ideal pilot for the role, but we will be matched here with the AI. Moving on, we have our first frontline mech, which is going to be the Orion. This is going to be a very durable mech, as you can see here. And the weapon loadout for this mech is going to be a couple medium lasers, an SRM-4, an LRM-15, and an AC-10. So pretty decent firepower. The real downside of this mech is its heat efficiency. It's not the most heat-efficient mech, so I do have to keep an eye on that. As a result, the pilot I've chosen is Sumo. And Sumo has that multi-target ability, but the main thing that we're looking for here is Bulwark, which is going to aid our frontline mech's ability to tank. And we do see, this is something I didn't really notice before, but you have preferred mechs for a particular pilot, and they actually have the Orion listed, so I've actually matched that up properly unintentionally. But the other big thing that we have here is Guts, which is going to allow us to contend with heat more effectively, at least with this pilot. We also have a decent gunnery skill, allowing us to use our firepower effectively. Moving on to our next frontline mech, we have the Battlemaster, which is going to be a mech that provides a lot of firepower. It's going to be durable because it's a heavier mech and it's got pretty good armor, so we see that here. But its real advantage is going to be its strong firepower, especially at medium and close ranges with the large number of medium lasers, 6 in total. We also have an SRM-6 to aid in that. We have a couple medium machine guns for very close ranges, and also when we're punching, and then we have a PPC for longer ranges. So longer ranges isn't the strong suit of the Battlemaster, but it is something that we can attack at if we are at those kind of ranges and we have no choice to bring our other weapons to bear. Heat efficiency is, again, is going to be a problem, so Ozone is going to be our pilot. Again, a high gut skill here, and our abilities are going to be Bulwark and Evasive Movement. The Battlemaster has decent mobility for an assault mech. It's not outstanding, but it's something we can utilize, and we may want to advance into water to try and help contend with the heat issues of the Battlemaster. So we might take advantage of that, but the Bulwark ability is, again, going to aid us in tanking damage. Now, this level, this budget level, tanking damage becomes more problematic because the amount of damage that's coming your way is pretty intense. So even these heavier mechs are going to have a little bit of issue with that, and we may see that in the course of this video. Moving on to our support mech, we have the Awesome. Now, I would have preferred to go up to the 8T variant, as I feel this is a little bit more effective as a support mech, but budget level is our constraint, so we're going to be using the 8.3 instead. You could jump down to the Catapult if you really don't want to come to this budget level. You'll be quite a bit below it, and that's how far down you have to go to find a mech that is in the support realm. You could choose another Orion if you want to really go for a more frontline heavy loadout, but with the LRM-15 working into concert with another Orion, that could give you effective enough firepower to do away with the support mech. But to keep things within the realm of the well-rounded build, trying to have a support mech, we're going to use the Awesome with 3 PPCs. This is some decent direct fire support. I don't think this is going to give us the kind of damage output, though, that I'm really looking for. And the Awesome is vulnerable in closer ranges with only having a small laser, so we are probably going to have to resort to punching if it comes to that. Now, one thing that the Awesome does have in its favor is high durability, so this mech can serve as a frontline mech if our other 2 frontline mechs get a little bit too beat up. With that being said, the pilot we're going to be using is Apex, my standard go-to for the support role, but I could see other pilots being used in this role. For example, you could use Wildfire instead. You would lose out on the Precision Strike ability, which allows you to burn through guard status so that you can do more damage, but you do gain Bulwark. So again, if you wanted to use the Awesome as a frontline mech substitute, Wildfire would probably be a good choice for you. So that's a good alternative pilot for you. But I'm going to be using Apex because of issues with heat with the Awesome. Now, in the tabletop game, the Awesome is not normally going to be one that builds up a lot of heat. And again, unintentionally, I am choosing one of the preferred mechs for Apex here. Now, Apex, the reason why I'm choosing her outside of the breaching shot is she has very high gunnery skill, and she has decent gut skills, which is going to help us contend with the heat that I'm talking about with this Awesome. Now, as I was saying, normally speaking, the Awesome would be decently heat efficient, but from what I've seen of PPCs, they seem to generate a lot more heat, or considerably more heat than they perhaps do in the tabletop game. I don't know that for sure because the heat numbers are not presented to me in a definitive way, but that is an assumption that I make here. So we will struggle with heat quite a bit more than I think you would in the tabletop game. All right, with all that being said, we will be running the same map that I usually use for these tests, which is going to be the river crossing, and we're going to be doing rainy day, just why not? All right, let's go ahead and jump in here. So this is going to be a mirror match. Same mechs against the same mechs. The real difference is just the pilots, and I've already stated the reason why that is the case. So a real challenge for this particular battle is just ensuring that our frontline mechs can survive this particular fight. All right, so let's go ahead and grab the Orion. And we're going to put it in the woods here. I'm going to go a little bit further back than I think I normally would, just so we get a little bit more of an opportunity perhaps to engage our opponent and maybe back off if we need to.
Consider it done.
And then our Battlemaster is going to do a similar thing. We want it here where it might not be able to see opponents over there. I think we put it a little bit more in the middle.
Copy that, Commander.
So that we don't have that possibility of being cut off from line of sight. Although we do have this mound in front of us, that could be a problem. All right, Arc Light, our Scout is going to go ahead and run over here, hopefully getting sensor contact in this first turn. But again, because we're at a higher budget level, mechs are slower, so we're not as likely to get them in that first turn as we are in some of the other budget levels. The Awesome, unfortunately, is kind of on the slow side, so we're not going to quite get into the position I want to, but that's okay. More than likely, we're going to have to wait a turn before we're in the position that I would ideally want anyway. But who knows, we might get sensor contact here. We'll have to see. Alright, nothing. So, I'm going to have to position to try and get that sensor contact. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through my frontline mechs and we're going to guard them so they're ready to tank damage for us. Apex is just going to get into her position so that she is able to see the field of battle.
On the move.
And then Arclight, I could do a couple different things. I could stay pat, I could get up on top of this hill, we'd still be out of line of sight, and we could use our jump jets to jump in for any potential flanking attack, hit and run attack, or we could come down here and look to try and get that sensor contact early. I think either thing would be viable, and it's very likely that we'll get sensor contact this turn. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take the safer path. I'm just going to move very slightly in here, and we'll be ready for potential flanks. I'm going to face this way so that we can flank in this direction if we get that opportunity. All right, so there is a risk here that we won't get sensor contacts this turn, but I'm really hoping that we will. There we go. We got one. Now, let's see what we've got. So that's an 85-ton mech. So that's going to be their Battle Master. 75-ton mech. That's going to be the Orion. And who knows what this is.
Becoming a target-rich environment.
This appears to be the Firestarter. So going in on the flank here. All right, so we're going to want to probably take out that Firestarter early so it's not a threat to us. So first things first, I'm going to reserve. I'm going to allow it to move so we can take advantage of it and possibly remove any evasion it has. It looks like it's going to jump here and end up in the water. All right, so that does make it a little bit threatening to me because it could possibly jump up on top of here or jump in on us and be able to attack us next turn. Again, this is going to have pretty good range. So Arclight is probably going to want to move into a position where she's decently covered, but we're also still going to want to use our sensor lock here. So I'm going to move like this. There is a chance that the Firestarter will be able to jump in here and possibly get my back. Although I highly doubt it can jump that far, but it might be able to attack me from the side, so still maybe not the best positioning, but we get to do our sensor lock here, and hopefully we can make this mech pay. Now it's guarded and has a lot of evasion charges, so it's going to be difficult to do a lot of damage here. But I still think it's worth it. We're going to want to try and knock out the Firestarter early. Alright, so Sumo is going to get the first opportunity to go here, and we're already in arc, so we don't really have to move here. And as we can see, our chance to hit is not particularly good against our opponent. What I am going to do is I'm going to turn off the SRM-4 and the AC-10. We don't want to waste ammo at this point, as ammo may be a concern. The LRM-15 I'm not so worried about. The medium lasers I am willing to sling off, although I might want to turn one off. You know what? Screw it. Let's go ahead and fire them. As I've said, though, heat efficiency is going to be a little bit of a problem for this mech. So let's go ahead and fire. This is going to burn through some of the evasion charges that we have here. Okay, we managed to hit with one medium laser, and some of the missiles are hitting, but because of the guard, a lot of the damage was reduced pretty significantly there. But against the light mech, it's still going to be telling. Okay, now our assault mechs have the opportunity to go. I don't know if our Battle Master is in range of much of the weapons here. Let's see if we can see. Yeah, we are in range. So the PPC is a good call here. Other weapons we're definitely going to want to turn off. The SRM-6. I mean, anything that's going to generate heat here, I think we turn off. I'm willing to generate a little bit of heat. I'll go ahead and fire a couple medium lasers here in our single PPC and see if we can land with any of these. PPC is going to be important. We did manage to land that. Okay, so now there's only one evasion charge, so we're going to be able to burn through that with Apex. Now, whether or not we want to just fire 1 PPC or 3 PPCs is up to us. Keeping in mind, if we only fire 1, we will get through the guard. And firing 2 PPCs would be the same as firing 1 in that case, as long as it hits, of course.
Aye, aye.
So the only real advantage we'd have is in firing all 3, which would generate quite a lot of heat for us. I think we want to save that heat for when we have a better chance of attack. So we're just going to fire the 1 PPC, which is going to burn through the guard.
Confirmed.
Got a 65% chance to hit. Hopefully this does land, which it did, and we did full damage. The full damage on a fire starter is going to hurt quite a bit. Okay, so here comes the enemy, going to jump in, probably going to use the flamers and what have you against our Orion. Because we didn't really generate heat last turn, we're going to have the advantage of not really overheating too badly. I now can utilize my fire starter to attack, but I have to keep in mind that sensor lock is going to burn through more evasion charges, and the evasion charges are going to be problematic for me. So what I'm going to do, I think, with the fire starter is I'm going to move it away that we can see and be in range of the enemy fire starter, but will be out of line of sight of the enemy, so that they won't be really able to lay into me too much. This is kind of risky. I almost wonder if we would be in their vision here. But one way that we could prevent this from being too much of a problem is we could reserve a bit. That would mean that the fire starter would not be providing me the evasion charge burn through like I would prefer. But I think for now we're just going to reserve and see what we can get done here. Ideally, we want our heavier mechs to do a lot of the damage here. But with the Orion, we might want to hold back on a lot of our firepower considering the situation. But I'm going to reserve one more time here. We're going to allow their heavy mechs to go, which is going to be right here. Closing in on the distance. Fortunately, that missed. Now, we don't want to see too many head hits here. Losing a mech, one of our frontline mechs to a head hit would pretty much doom this battle. Okay, so I now have to make that decision of how I want to engage the fire starter here. Burning through all of its evasion charges, even with using sensor lock, is going to be problematic. But I think I'm going to go ahead and take the risk that we will be fired upon here. I'm pretty sure this awesome is going to have a line of sight on me. If I move here, I'd have that line of sight, and I don't think I would be in harm's way. It's possible I would be, but the machine guns wouldn't be in range. So, not so sure how much I like that. Let's see what else we can move, what kind of movement we can do. We could move in here, have cover and a lot of evasion charges, but then again, we'd be vulnerable to awesome attacks. So I'm tempted at this point to just reserve again. This is going to mean that the Orion is going to hang back with us as well. And we'll see, more than likely it's going to be the Battlemaster moving here. We'll see probably a PPC shot coming our way. Oh, actually in range of a lot of the weapons. Fortunately for me, a lot of it missed.
Armor holding.
So we still don't have the awesome, which is the one that could really smack my fire starter here. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and use my Orion so that we can have that awesome go ahead and go. So we're going to attack here. Not going to be great chances to hit, but we're going to do our best. I am going to turn off the LRM-15 as that is not really a good weapon to fire in this case. I am going to fire my SRM-4 though. Now he might be a concern if we get hit again by the flamers in this case, but I think we're okay with this amount of heat. So let's go ahead and fire, burn through what evasion charges we can. And it is important, any damage that happens here is going to be good for us. All right, here comes the awesome. At this point, whatever it fires upon will not be... Fortunately, they're focusing the fire on our Battlemaster.
Damage is minor, Commander.
Okay, good. Now we can attack with our fire starter and not really have to worry about counterattacks from the heavier units. We do have to worry about counterattacks from the fire starter itself, but hopefully we can come in here and do some good damage. Now, the fire starter has built up a lot of heat. I'm not going to use my flamer units, though, because those are better served, I think, against heavy units. We're going to be using our medium lasers and machine guns instead, and we're going to fire away here. I'm hoping that with the fire starter does another jump, it will probably overheat to the point that we could take advantage of it. Okay, now we only have 3 evasion charges. At this point, I think our awesome is the better one to take the attack here. And we have a number of units in line of sight now, so I could attack another one of the mechs here rather than the fire starter. But if we take out the fire starter, that's probably their main way of seeing us. So, and our chance to hit here is really at its best against the Orion, so we'd be able to do more damage there. Let's try our best here to do a lot of damage. We're going to fire all 3 PPCs because there's no defense for our opponent. And hopefully all 3 land. Unfortunately, only 2 landed, but that is going to be really good damage for us. And hopefully, at this point, our Battlemaster can do what it needs to do to finish this off. So at this range, we are going to be in range of the machine guns, which are going to be very valuable to us. We don't have multi-target, so I'm going to have to choose one opponent. We are going to turn off the PPC here. There are no evasion charges anymore, so this is going to be a very easy target. And I'm going to go ahead and just turn on all of the weapon systems we want to use here. The SRM-6 is probably going to be overkill at this point, but I want to guarantee a kill here, so we are going to... All right, I'll turn off the SRM-6. So we'll just do the medium lasers and the machine guns for now.
I'm on him.
Hopefully this is enough. We have to get lucky with our hits. Unfortunately, we didn't get lucky with our hits, so we're going to have a problem here. So we'll have to see what their mech does. Didn't jump, instead is going to walk. And it's going to go in on the back of my Battlemaster and attack it. Doing probably good damage. Now our job here with our Arc Light is to try and take out the fire starter if we can. So I want to use my machine guns. So we're going to want to be in range of that. And this is going to be very important that we get this kill here. So I'm going to try my best. I am also leaving my fire starter possibly vulnerable to an attack here if this attack does not work. So we've got our machine guns, we've got our medium lasers. We just have to hit the center torso. The machine guns will do good damage if they land. Unfortunately, yeah, there we go. We got the kill. So now the opponent should not be able to see me. That means that they're going to have to move up to engage. Oh, I lied. They can see me just fine. This is actually very problematic for me because I used my scout to kill. I'm going to reserve here because I don't want to break. Although, to be honest with you, at this point, they're focusing fire. Okay, they're not focusing fire anymore. I was about to say, if they continue to focus fire on the Battlemaster, that would be bad for me because we're not as effectively tanking. We want them to spread damage. All right, so the Battlemaster moved up, so now I can see it, so we don't really have to move ourselves. I'm going to turn off the SRM-4 in this case. We're going to turn on the AC-10 as it has a good chance to hit, and we're going to turn on the LRM-15. It also has a good chance to hit, and let's go ahead and fire away here. We did manage to hit with that AC-10. This is going to be a good opportunity to do a lot of damage to that Battlemaster, as it is out in the open without any defenses. We are starting to have problems with heat, though, and because the enemy is in the water, they're not going to have those same problems. Okay, we're continuing to take some PPC shots there from the opponent. Okay, let's go ahead and go with our Battlemaster at this point, who's alright so far. We are going to have quite a bit of heat build up here. I'm going to turn off a couple of the medium lasers here, and we're going to fire the PPC and then 4 medium lasers against the Battlemaster. Again, this is the turn we want to do as much damage we possibly can. So let's go ahead and fire. Okay, good hit there. All right, unfortunately, one of the medium lasers did not hit, but now we have an opening for our awesome to lay into the Battlemaster, with all 3 having a very high chance of landing here. Okay, we managed to knock out that leg, which is going to give us the opportunity of cold shots against that mech now. Only the Orion and the Firestarter get that advantage, though.
What do you need?
Okay, so for now, I'm going to go ahead and move myself into a position to possibly get a flank attack with my fire starter. I'm going to stay on this side.
Roger.
And I'm going to sensor lock up the... Oh, we actually have to choose here. Well, if we're going to choose the Battlemaster, as that's the one we've already targeted. Ideally, I would have preferred to keep the line of sight. Okay, the Orion is going to do nothing because it does not have line of sight. Alright, now for Sumo, we're going to have to make this damage count. So, of course, I am going to be firing here. Let's turn off the medium lasers, as they aren't going to do as much damage as our other weapons possibly could. We're going to go after the left torso here, hopefully knocking it out. And that should get through some of the weapon systems here. We'll lose the a number of the medium lasers in the SRM-6 if we can take that out, as well as the machine guns, which aren't going to be as big of a deal, but... Alright, unfortunately we did not... Oh, actually we did land with that. Not quite enough, but we did get an SRM-6 crit, which should matter. Now let's see if they move the Battlemaster first. Of course they do, because that makes a logical sense to do so. And going to stay put and fire at our Orion, which again is good for us because it's spreading damage.
Ha! You got nothing.
Okay, at this point, we're going to want to follow up with an attack from the Battlemaster. The reason why we're doing the Battlemaster first is because there's always a potential that we'll lose him to a decapitation from the enemy Awesome. And we're going to try and turn off the PPC here, and see if we can get away. Looks like we might only be able to get away with 4 medium lasers. This is kind of the problem with the Battlemaster. If you want to avoid overheating, kind of the dance you have to do. I'm going to turn on the SRM-6, though. We're going to fire 3 medium lasers here.
Engaging target.
Because we're firing from the side, we might be able to take that torso section out, which we did manage to get. So there is a big reduction in the damage of that Battlemaster. We're actually doing quite well. And that's exactly why I went with the Battlemaster first, because we're taking head hits here, and that can leave you with a dead mech, even though you still have a lot of armor left over.
Commander?
Okay, so in this case, we probably could lay in with another 3 PPCs. I am going to overheat a bit here, but again, this is the time to do these attacks. While this mech is out in the open, has no cover, let's go ahead and lay into him. We might get a kill if we get those center torso hits, so...
Taking the shot.
Let's go for it. Okay, those would all transfer into the center torso, so we're doing quite well against that Battlemaster. Okay, so in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and reserve until we get to the enemy mechs. The reason why I'm reserving is because, well, we don't see them, they don't see us, so we might as well just reserve, allow them to establish line of sight against me. Oh, okay, I guess they can see me. Ow.
Internal structure damage.
So that means if they can see me, then they can continue to do damage to me, so I'm going to have to do something to counter that. I could have set up my fire starter to do a hit and run attack, but now I would be very vulnerable if I did that. You know what? Screw it. We're going to wait. I really want to do a hit and run attack. If we're going to use our fire starter, we have to take some risks here. So this would leave me exposed if I moved up. I could do a jump attack here, where I jump in behind the enemy and we attack. Fortunately, I can't get into the water and get a rear shot on the Orion. This would be a lot of evasion, which would make it very hard for the opponent to attack me effectively. And to be honest with you, with this move, I think this is actually good for us. Now, ideally, I'd want to heat up the Orion, though, which I could do by jumping here. But then I'd be open to overheating, perhaps. You know what? I'm going to go with the Orion attack nonetheless, because we could possibly get the Orion to shut down here, because it has been firing its weapons. That means it should be hot.
Roger.
I appear to be right on that. Let's turn on all our flamers. Now, ideally, we would have wanted to get behind so we'd get rid of this guard, but let's go ahead and open up with all of our weapons here. Heat's not going to be too bad.
Roger.
The heat's going to be the more important thing that happens here. So we did some structural damage due to overheating. Now the Awesome's going to be able to counter that attack. Now, whether or not it goes after... No, it's not going to go after. They're continuing to take very heavy damage to our Battlemaster. It's actually getting to the point where I'm thinking about removing it from the front line. Now, at this point, we did our hit. Now we have to do... Oh, actually, no, it's not the end of the turn yet. Okay, so the Battlemaster, I think it's time we think about disengaging here. So I'm going to go ahead and start reversing. This should get us out of... Oh, I can still see me all the way over there? Seriously? Oh, I guess that's probably a scout pilot there. All right, so we're going to want to move in a way that this guy can't see me anymore. But we can still... apparently, there's nowhere I can move that he can't see me anymore. All right, well, maybe we can get a... We're too unsteady to run. So I'm going to go for an attack against their... An attempted attack against their... They're awesome here. So I'm going to move away. We're going to brace up so that we can remove how unsteady we are. And hopefully...
What's up, Commander?
Now, unfortunately, we don't have line of sight established on the... That's strange. Wasn't the... Oh, that's right. We can't see the Battlemaster. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and hit the Orion here. This gives me an opportunity to cool off anyway by just firing the LRM-15, so we'll do that.
I'll make them dead.
I may have been better off just waiting out a turn, but...
It's so hot in here. I'm gonna puke.
Okay, now Apex. Apex needs to move here. And we're just going to fire the one PPC, giving us an opportunity to cool off. We're going to turn off the ones that aren't in the arm. Arm mounted, get a bonus. And there we go. Ignoring his guard, but also giving us an opportunity there. Now, I could hit this guy again with my flamers, but that's not really a good idea, as we would be open to attack from both the Battlemaster and the Awesome, and we more than likely will be also very still during that turn. So we're just going to jump back into position. But I am going to use my sensor lock to focus fire on the wounded Battlemaster, see if we can finish it off. So the Orion won't be able to do a whole lot, all things considered, because of the heat buildup. Unless it goes into the water, it might be able to pull off some attacking, but... Yeah, okay, so it just retreated. Sumo should have an attack here against the Battlemaster. I'm just going to use the AC-10 and the LRM-15 at this point because of heat concerns. Fire away. If we get a center torso hit, we may kill this guy. There we go. We got that kill. Efficient use of firepower there. Not intentional.
Hey, watch the heat.
It's possible now the Awesome can't see me, so it's going to have to move, which makes us have ourselves a good position here. Now, at this point, we actually have no line of sight of anyone else unless we move to establish one. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my Battlemaster a little bit vulnerable, and we've already taken a lot of damage, but I think continuing to do damage is going to be very valuable to us. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to move up here, and we're going to do what damage we can against this Awesome with the heat, and then probably we'll back off and allow ourselves to cool down. So this is what I'm going to fire. Let's go ahead and fire our way.
Affirmative.
Fortunately, the damage is going to be reduced. Did manage to get a head hit there.
My heat gauge is getting pretty high.
Okay, and Apex does have a line of sight. And again, I think we're just going to fire the single PPC. Is going to give us an opportunity to cool off. And there we go. So we're going to go ahead and reserve at this point. Now, what I see happening here is they're going to all go after my Battlemaster, as he's not all that defended. This will give us an opportunity, though, to go after the Orion, perhaps. That is if they can see him, which they may not be able to do. All right, well, Sumo is here and can see the Awesome, so let's go ahead and attack. Fortunately, we are continuing to heat up, but we can contend with this, so we'll fire off the LRM-15 and the AC-10 again.
I got him. Oh, come on, it's like a steam bath in here.
Okay, I'm going to reserve so that the Awesome is forced to move. Trying to fire its PPCs at the... We got lucky there with the Battlemaster. I don't know if we should continue to push our luck here, but at this point, the Awesome is in a position where we really might want to go after it rather than the Orion, because the Orion has had turns to cool off. It's not going to be as hot, so we're not going to be able to maybe take advantage of it like we did. Unfortunately, our heat gauge is still very high, so I'm going to have to run or walk to my location. I don't think we're going to get the... Yeah, we're not going to get the weapons I want to get in range unless I jump. So I might jump into the water here. Let's see if we can do that. Jump. It does seem like I can get into the water, although a heat does look not the best. We're going to do this move anyway.
Acknowledged.
Alright, that did allow us to cool off a little bit. I'm going to probably have to turn off my medium lasers and just use machine guns and flamers in this case, but that will work okay. We'll get through the guard. We'll heat this guy up.
Here we go.
Limiting the Awesome's ability to continue to use all its PPCs against us. Maybe justifying the... keeping the Battlemaster where he is. But for now... I'm going to use the Awesome, and I'm going to fire with all 3 PPCs, because at this point, no guard. I figure might as well go after him.
Engaging target.
Okay, managed to do good damage there. I think we're going to keep the Battlemaster in this fight. It is a risk, for sure.
Yep.
The amount of firepower we'll be able to put down here is going to be high. Turn off the PPC, turn off a medium laser, and we'll be slinging 3 medium lasers and an SRM-6. That's pretty good firepower, and considering that the Awesome is as heated up as it is, it's probably not going to be able to respond with a whole lot. So let's go ahead and fire here. I might want to start thinking about moving the Battlemaster into a position where we can punch, but unfortunately that would take an awfully long time. Now, at this point, Arclight is going to be in danger if I keep her where she is, but I may be able to shut down the Awesome, and it might be worth the risk. So I'm going to move, keeping myself... I'm not getting any... What I want to do is I want to move so I build up some evasion charges so that we're not a super easy target. But I also want to have my machine guns and flamers. See, this is kind of the problem with the way the game works, is in the tabletop game, I could move in a more circuitous route, and I'd build up a lot of evasion charges, but I'd still be within close range to utilize my weapons, whereas in this game, you can't really do that. You always have to take the most direct path. So, kind of puts a light mechs at a bit of a disadvantage, but I understand that's done for simplicity's sake. This might be a little bit better, but this gives me cover, which is probably better still. I don't think 2 evasion charges is enough to warrant. Alright, so hopefully we can hit with the last bit of our flamer fuel and do enough heat damage here to shut down the Awesome. I don't think I'll be able... Well, no, we can put the medium lasers into this one.
Copy that.
So this is a massive risk that I'm taking here. Unfortunately, one of the flamers missed. But we did manage to put the Awesome in a tough spot here. Now, the Awesome can respond by punching me, which is a real risk of what I've done here. And also, we're going to take huge damage there from the Orion, which is what I was worried about. So this was an extremely risky move, and I understood that. Now, if I was able to shut down the Awesome, which would have happened probably if I had hit with all of my flamers rather than missing with one,
Something I can do.
I would have been in a position possibly to avoid a lot of the damage that's about to happen to me. Alright, so I should have focused fire. That would have been the right call. Alright, well, it's a little late for that, but let's go ahead and move up here with the Orion. I think the focus fire is probably going to be best used with Apex, so I'm going to kind of hold off at this point. And I think I'm going to actually come out of cover altogether with an opportunity of possibly punching here to correspond with the amount of heat that we have built up and trying to deal with it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move up here. We're going to turn off the LRM-15 as it's not going to be effective at this range anyway. And we're going to open up here with what I feel I can get away with. Probably just the AC-10 and the SRM-4 as far as our heat's concerned. A medium laser would kind of tip things a little bit too far for me, so not a lot of damage, but hopefully enough to, there we go, a knockdown. But that's not going to reduce its initiative, unfortunately, so we're not going to be able to get any called shots off on it, as it will be going right now.
I'm gonna puke.
So let's see what it does. More than likely, it's going to go for a punch on our fire starter. This is just so obvious of a move. And if this hits, this is going to really hurt. Took out my leg. We should be able to get out without that leg if I jump away. But as we can see, that move with Arc Light was maybe not the most intelligent one. I think I'm just going to continue to attack here with the Battle Master, and I guess we'll just continue with these weapons that we've got.
Here we go.
And because of the punch attack from the Awesome, all that heat buildup that we tried to do didn't really work. So as I said, huge risk there, didn't really pay off. But let's see if we can use Focus Fire to make that Awesome pay. So focus. We've got the heat to be able to use all three of our PPCs. And we're going to burn through here. Now again, the Focus Fire would have been better used with that fire starter because we could have shut down the Awesome. If we had managed to do that, we would have, well, there goes the Awesome now. But we would have probably been able to take out the Awesome without taking all the damage that Arc Light took. We're going to stand up here, and then I'm going to try and jump away if it will allow me. I don't know if you can jump the same turn that you stand up. We'll find out here in a second. Looks like we can.
Let's go.
I'm just going to jump away, and we're probably going to be keeping the fire starter out of engagements from here on out. I didn't pay attention to our sensor range, but we are indeed in range, so let's go ahead and sensor lock up here. The Orion's probably going to go after our Battle Master if it can see it. We'll find out. If not, it will go after our Orion that's out in the open, which is possible. We're going to take full damage here, but our Orion hasn't been hurt that badly yet.
I'm losing armor over here.
Okay, Sumo has an opportunity here. Unfortunately, we're still running hot, and I can't get in there to punch just yet. So I'm going to move to punch in a future turn, but for now, that's what we're going to have to do. So still, we're going to be a little too hot to do too much weapons fire. But it's still going to be some damage here.
Hey, what's the heat?
Okay, we're going to move our Battle Master to also try and get into a position to punch, perhaps.
Location confirmed.
At this point, we're going to overwhelm the enemy mech with numbers, so that's exactly what I'm going to try and do. Let's use our PPC here, turn off the lasers, and cool off a little bit here as we try and close.
Copy that.
Commander?
Okay, this is going to be
Moving out.
where we have to move. I might just fire one PPC this turn so that we can kill off some of the heat for a future turn. Okay, good damage there. Okay, so Arc Light.
I'm here.
Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of moves here. Now, we haven't taken damage that reduces our firepower, but we have taken damage that is going to reduce our ability to really get in and do possible flank attacks. So I am going to just walk here. We can't sprint anymore.
On my
Then
way.
we're going to brace up, and we're just going to take this opportunity to cool our fire starter off. We may be able to get into a position to do some good damage. Now, I have made my fire starter vulnerable by moving here, but I'm just trying to use the fire starter aggressively. All right, here comes their Orion for a punch. I mean, that's what I wanted to do to it. So we'll be countering that with our own punch here next turn. So Sumo is going to go ahead and follow up with a melee strike here.
Aye, aye.
And we may actually have a good opportunity here to knock down our opponent. And also, we now have the back of our opponent as well. So I'm going to continue to move here with hope that we get our Battle Master into punch. Also, being able to use our machine guns is going to be pretty nice here. So we're going to get on that rear armor. And we're going to be turning off the PPC. And we're going to be using the, well, as many weapons as I feel like I can get away with here. So machine guns for sure, SRM6, maybe a couple of my medium lasers. See how many it'll allow me to use. All right, that's not too bad. We're only having to turn off one medium laser here. Let's go ahead and fire. There's a lot of damage to the rear. Okay, very good. And we should get that knockdown, which is going to allow the Awesome to now use all three PPCs to call a shot the opponent,
Watch my heat.
which is exactly what we want to do.
Standing by.
So we've got a good line of sight here. Let's go ahead and utilize it. We're going to turn on all three PPCs, and we're going to go for... Well, I really want to remove this mech's potential to do more damage. I don't think we're going to get a kill by going for after the center torso. So let's go after the more damaged torso here and blow off the arm that goes along with it, which is going to remove a good deal of its firepower. Okay, now Arc Light is going to get in there with an opportunity to do a lot of damage. I'm going to sacrifice Arc Light here because, well, no, I don't have to. I'm going to go ahead and reserve instead. It's going to give the Orion an opportunity to get up. Well, actually, no, it isn't. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see. I'll let my Orion go. We'll see what the situation is after that point.
Yeah.
So we're still pretty hot. I'm just going to go for another punch attack here. Or in this case, it'll probably be a kick. See what kind of damage we're going to do. Oh, wow, there we go. Stomped on the head and killed the guy. All right, well, there we go. That was a very successful mission for us. Now, we did take damage on a couple of our mechs, and I realized that I took a real risk with my fire starter there in that one turn, where we exposed it to firepower that really wasn't necessarily wise. But in the case of a skirmish, you can be a little bit more aggressive than you necessarily would be in the course of a campaign. If this was a campaign, I would not have risked my fire starter as much as I did. But we did have a couple opportunities to do good hit and run attacks. In that case, I did my hit. I should have done my run rather than stick around. As I've discussed with light mechs, once you've already gone in and done your running in and your initial hit, sticking around is really dangerous because you can't get enough movement to give you evasion charges. So usually the best course of action is just break and run. And wait for a future turn to get back in there and attack. It's very tempting to stick around as I did, but it's, as you've seen, not really the wisest move. Now again, if I was able to shut down the Awesome, it might have been worth the sacrifice there, but even still, we would have eaten the damage from the Orion, and that would have been heavy damage that we could have easily prevented on our fire starter. So in that case, I think in the campaign game, when you're really trying to save your mechs and your pilots, the wiser move would have been to do the hit, then do the run. In any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.